Throughout human history, civilizations have risen to greatness only to vanish, leaving behind ruins, legends, and mysteries that still haunt us today. Some left monuments so grand they defy explanation, others left almost nothing, only whispers and myths and the dust of time. From the legendary city of Atlantis, swallowed by the sea, to the Sumerians, the inventors of writing who mysteriously disappeared. These civilizations continue to baffle historians and ignite our imaginations. Join me on this journey as we uncover the lost civilizations that still baffle historians. The story begins with perhaps the most famous lost civilization of all, Atlantis. First described by the philosopher Plato around 360 BCE, Atlantis was said to be a powerful and advanced empire, larger than Libya and Asia combined. It supposedly existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to Plato, Atlantis was a utopian society advanced in engineering, wealthy in resources, and unmatched in power. It was a true marvel of the ancient world. They had a sophisticated legal system, intricate canals that crisscrossed the city, and even a form of early climate control, using geothermal energy from the island's volcanoes. Their architecture was said to be a symphony of red, white, and black stone, with grand temples and statues gilded in gold. The Atlanteans were a people of immense knowledge, masters of the sea and builders of a world that seemed perfect. Yet, in a single day and night, it was destroyed, swallowed by the ocean. For centuries, scholars have debated whether Atlantis was real or just an allegory. Plato's account, while detailed, was part of a larger philosophical dialogue, raising questions about its literal truth. Was he using the story of Atlantis as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and materialism? Or was he recounting an actual historical event that had been passed down through generations? Some point to the volcanic eruption of Santorini around 1600 BCE, which wiped out the advanced Minoan civilization as the source of Plato's tale. The Minoans, who lived on the island of Crete, had a highly developed society with complex palaces and a thriving sea trade. When the volcano erupted, it caused a massive tsunami that would have devastated their coastal cities, a cataclysmic event that eerily mirrors the destruction Plato described. Others claim the strange circular Richat structure in the Sahara Desert might be Atlantis's ruins. This massive concentric geological formation, over 40 kilometers wide, looks uncannily like the circular city Plato described. Geologists say it's a natural formation, but for some, the resemblance is too strong to ignore. Could the shifting sands of time have buried a once great civilization, only for its skeletal remains to be revealed from space? And then there are those who believe Atlantis was more than human and advanced society, maybe even influenced by visitors from the stars. This idea, while far-fetched to many, taps into a deeper question. How did some ancient cultures achieve such incredible technological and intellectual leaps? The concept that they had help from a non-human source is a recurring theme in many of these mysteries. What keeps Atlantis alive in our imagination is not whether it existed, but what it represents. The rise and fall of human greatness, and the possibility that entire worlds of knowledge can be lost to time. Long before Rome, Greece, or Egypt, there were the Sumerians. Emerging in Mesopotamia around 4000 BCE in what is now Iraq, the Sumerians are often called the first true civilization. They gave us the first written language cuneiform, pressed into clay tablets using wedge-shaped styluses. Imagine the shift this created. For the first time, complex thoughts, laws, and stories could be recorded and passed down through generations, not just from person to person. It was the birth of history itself. They also gave us the wheel, a deceptively simple invention that revolutionized transportation and warfare. Their mastery of mathematics led to a sexagesimal, base 60 system, which is why we still divide our hours and minutes into 60. They developed the first legal codes, the first epic literature like the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the first forms of organized government. Their great cities like Uruk and Ur were bustling metropolises. They boasted massive temples called ziggurats, which were stepped pyramids that served as spiritual and administrative centers. They had bustling marketplaces and complex irrigation systems that turned the arid desert fertile, creating an agricultural surplus that fed a growing population. And yet, after nearly 2,000 years of dominance, the Sumerians vanished. By 2000 BCE, their culture had faded, absorbed by later empires like the Akkadians and Babylonians. Their language, Sumerian, was no longer spoken, replaced by Akkadian. Historians suggest a combination of factors led to their decline. Prolonged drought may have caused widespread crop failure and famine. Continuous warfare between their city-states could have weakened them, making them vulnerable to outside invaders. The shifting course of the great Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which were their lifeblood, could have also rendered their cities uninhabitable. But some theories go further. Ancient Sumerian texts speak of the Anunnaki, a group of deities who are said to have come down from the heavens to guide humanity. These texts, especially the Sumerian king list, describe a lineage of rulers who lived for impossibly long periods. Some fringe theorists suggest the Sumerians were not just guided by, but were in fact the descendants of extraterrestrials. They believe the advanced knowledge of the Sumerians, their understanding of astronomy, mathematics and engineering, came not from human ingenuity alone, but from a superior, otherworldly source. Whether myth or reality, the sudden disappearance of the world's first great civilization remains one of history's most profound mysteries. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most innovative and powerful societies are not immune to the relentless march of time. While Sumer thrived in Mesopotamia, another great civilization flourished thousands of miles away, the Indus Valley Civilization. From 3300 to 1300 BCE, the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro in modern-day Pakistan and India were marvels of urban planning. Imagine walking through a city where every street ran in a perfect, organized grid. Every house had access to a sophisticated system of indoor plumbing and sewage that would rival those of Rome, thousands of years later. These people were sanitation pioneers, building intricate drainage systems and public baths that showed a remarkable understanding of hygiene. The cities were a testament to their egalitarian society. There were no grand palaces or monumental temples, suggesting a society with a relatively flat social structure, where power was not concentrated in a single king or priest. Instead, their most impressive structures were massive granaries, indicating a focus on communal well-being and food security. They were also master artisans, creating stunning pottery, intricate jewelry, and delicate seals. Yet the most puzzling thing about the Indus Valley is what we don't know. Their writing system remains undeciphered, hundreds of symbols carved into seals and pottery, but no Rosetta Stone to unlock their meaning. Without their words, their story remains silent. We don't know their gods, their kings, or their legends. We can only infer their daily lives from the artifacts they left behind. This is the ultimate archaeological frustration, a vibrant, thriving civilization whose voice has been muted by the passage of time. Around 1900 BCE, their cities collapsed, the well-ordered streets fell into ruin, and the complex drainage systems were left to crumble. What happened? Climate change is a leading theory. Shifting monsoon patterns could have led to prolonged droughts, making agriculture impossible and forcing the inhabitants to abandon their homes. Another theory is that a major earthquake or a series of seismic events altered the course of the Indus River, disrupting their vital water supply. Some evidence also suggests an invasion by nomadic groups from Central Asia, but this theory is widely debated. But without their written records, the fall of the Indus Valley remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. We are left to piece together the narrative from the silent stones and broken pots, forever wondering what they had to say. In the jungles of Central America, another great civilization rose to power: the Maya. From 250 to 900 CE, the Maya built towering pyramids like El Castillo at Chichen Itza, which acted as giant solar calendars. They carved intricate calendars, not just to track days, but to chart cycles of time on an epic scale, sometimes spanning millions of years. They charted the stars with astonishing accuracy, creating detailed astronomical tables that predicted solar and lunar eclipses. They developed advanced mathematics, including the concept of zero, a groundbreaking idea that enabled complex calculations centuries before it appeared in Europe. Their cities were not just urban centers, but ceremonial hubs connected by a complex web of trade routes. Their society was deeply spiritual, and their intricate mythology revolved around a cycle of creation and destruction. They were masters of agriculture, using advanced techniques to farm in a challenging jungle environment. But then, suddenly, their great cities like Tikal, Copan, and Palenque were abandoned. The bustling plazas went silent, and the intricate temples were reclaimed by the jungle. The Maya people didn't disappear entirely, but their centralized urban civilization collapsed. Historians suggest a perfect storm of factors may have caused their downfall. Prolonged droughts, evidenced by climate data from the region, would have led to widespread famine. Endless warfare between rival city-states for control over dwindling resources could have destabilized the entire region. Some theories also suggest a loss of faith in their rulers, who were seen as intermediaries between the gods and the people. When the rains didn't come, the people may have rebelled against a system that no longer served them. Yet the mystery remains. How could such a powerful and sophisticated culture fade so quickly? The Maya's story is a chilling reminder of how fragile a society can be when faced with environmental and political pressures. Even in recent times, the Maya captured global attention when their calendar was misinterpreted as predicting the end of the world in 2012. Of course, the world didn't end, but their legacy as masters of time endures. Their ability to predict the movements of the cosmos and their deep understanding of cyclical time continues to fascinate and inspire us. Far out in the Pacific Ocean lies Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. It's one of the most remote inhabited islands on Earth. Its people carved enormous stone statues called moai, some weighing over 80 tons. They stand with their backs to the sea, facing the villages, almost as if protecting their people. But how did a small, isolated population move these massive giants? This question has puzzled archaeologists for decades. The island had no large animals to help with labor. The people would have had to rely solely on human power, ingenuity, and a few simple tools. Some suggest they walked them with ropes, rocking them side to side in a method that mimics a slow, deliberate walk. Others believe lost techniques of engineering are hidden in their culture. Modern experiments have shown that a small team of people can, in fact, move these statues using ropes and a lot of coordinated effort. But the sheer scale of the operation, hundreds of statues over many miles, is still astonishing. By the 1600s, the island's society had collapsed. The very resources that enabled them to move the statues' trees used for ropes and rollers were cut down in a desperate effort to build more moai, or perhaps to build canoes and homes. Deforestation, overpopulation, and later European contact left the once thriving culture devastated. The society descended into civil war, and many of the moai were toppled. The moai still stand today, silent sentinels of a people who once commanded the seas and the stones, now reduced to mystery. They are a powerful visual warning of what happens when a society consumes its own resources without thought for the future. The island's story is a microcosm of human history itself, a people rising to a moment of artistic and engineering greatness, only to fall victim to their own hubris and environmental pressures. There are countless other civilizations lost to time. The builders of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a temple complex 12,000 years old, older than farming itself. This site, with its massive carved pillars, has completely rewritten our understanding of the origins of civilization. It suggests that complex, organized human societies may have existed before agriculture, overturning a long-held belief that farming was the catalyst for urban life. The Cahokia Mounds near modern-day St. Louis, where tens of thousands lived in a forgotten city of North America. At its peak, this was the largest and most sophisticated pre-Columbian settlement north of Mexico. Its monumental mounds were constructed without the wheel or any draft animals, a feat of human power and organization that still stuns us today. Even the Egyptians, who left behind pyramids that have stood for millennia, still baffle us with how they achieved their feats. The precise alignment of the pyramids to the cardinal directions, the incredible accuracy of the stone cutting, and the logistical nightmare of moving millions of blocks of stone, these are all mysteries that still puzzle engineers and historians. Each of these civilizations whispers the same truth. Human history is far older, richer, and stranger than we've been taught. They remind us that the story of humanity is not a linear progression, but a series of rises and falls, of moments of unparalleled genius and profound loss. These lost civilizations remind us that human greatness is fragile. Entire empires can rise, shine, and fall into silence in the blink of an eye. But their ruins remain, calling us to question, what else have we forgotten? What knowledge was lost forever in the dust of time? And are we, in our modern world, so different from those who came before us? Do you believe these civilizations collapsed from natural causes, human mistakes, or something even more mysterious? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading them all. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to Golden Civilizations. Together, we'll uncover the mysteries of the past, because the story of humanity is only just beginning.